each and every time. It's a non-stop war battle. That's why they keep shutting down the phone, trying to hide my live streams. It's a profound insanity. Just stop listening to me. Just stop listening to me. Stop shutting off my shit. You're not getting psychotherapy. God is killing you all. And I'm sure that a lot of your wives have left you, or they just won't deal with you anymore because of it. That's what you don't like. Okay? So, anyway, I was trying to listen to the live stream. I just did. It is there. Okay? They keep trying to hide live streams, cut them off, and then say they're processing. They're morbidly insane. Okay? Right. I just went over the whole dude's family thing and why he's doing what he's doing, and that he's just going to die. There's no hope of recovery. You folks are all the same. That's why you won't stop shutting me the fuck off. You don't even love your wives. You would have cognitive behavioral therapy. You wouldn't keep shutting me off, right? You're not having a brotherhood of man. Ron DeSantis already told you that. Maybe he has a real relationship with his wife. He's not you, right? Real men that want to have relationships, have a wife, have children, they go to therapy. They uh, commit to that. Okay? You're not conflicted, Brian Buchanan. It's just you're having a war in your head because you can't enter into eternal life. That's the war in your head because you're not my species. So it's pointless to do cognitive behavioral therapy on you, and that's probably why they don't do it. They already determined that you're not my species by what you've been doing since 2011. You just go, they don't like it when obviously everything you just said is true. Why did your mother change her name back to her maiden name? Right, because she didn't want that guy's name attached to her, which is your name, because you probably embarrassed the fuck out of her too. But you just go, I just called it in a nutshell, and then it's all these fucking interruptions just because I'm calm and peaceful. Just like you do that to me. That's what these people have been doing to me for 15 fucking years. Lockdowns, internet prison, censorship, okay? Because they don't want cognitive behavioral therapy either, okay? It's like a constant struggle in your head until finally God lays you down and kills you. There's nothing else going on planet Earth, okay? Studying Christianity so as the brain disease continues, you don't become like you and your druggy friends. People don't want to turn into that. They don't want to do all this weird sexual deviance and morality, tipping over person to person to person, forgetting who you're even fucking married to. They don't want that in their lives. Okay? They don't. So you had a person and you threw me away. So you're basically on your own within the system. And it sounds like all the system's going to do with you is load you up with benzos, toss you back outside, and eventually you'll die. You have a shelter to go to. You got a warming center, you got Pine Street, you got Father Bill's, you got Woods Mullen. Okay. Um, some of the stuff you've been trying to do is it's clearly not working for you anymore because you'd be there like you did all the other times when you took off from me. So that's even changing for you, and I explained some of it because these people know I'm not with you anymore. So there's no excitement in it. They are monkeys. It has to do with getting closer to my essence. Like you were discarded, so you're clearly not a choice male. You don't work, you don't have money, you don't have housing, your penis doesn't work, and you're mean. So what is it that anybody would want from you? You only survived like that as long as you did because you still had a functioning penis and you were like prostituting and trying to trick women and dudes thought they were gonna get women through you, what women are still talking to you? So then it's just straight out deviant male prostitution, right? I know what you do because you explained some of it to me and I observed it, right? Like you seem to have some kind of a pungent for prostitutes, so you're clearly gonna get HIV and die. If not, if you don't die from your drug use and cancer. And then having sex with men, who hires prostitutes? Usually people that already have diseases. It's very rare someone like you is paying a prostitute and is still turning up clean on an STD. That's rare. It's because you're sort of a mean maggot. Okay, so whatever it is you're paying for when you prostitute, it's sort of like deviance and belittling a female and shit. You certainly are partaking in prostitution where a prostitute pretends she likes you because you had a wife that actually did at one time love you. So that's not what you're looking for when you're paying prostitutes. It's some other thing you're looking for. So I think it's because you want someone to belittle. I don't know, maybe you slap these people in the face. Um, you're only doing a prostitute when you tricked a female into thinking you liked her or something. It's something. What you did in Orlando was like beyond fucking shocking. I'll go over it again. They shouldn't even have told us to sleep on Paramore. That's why the cops kept showing up. That is why the cops kept showing up, and you still don't fucking get it. Okay, it's just you. This Barbara Kent did this shit too, where once you tell a person something fucked up and then you do it, you're so fucking sick. I specifically had just told you that that's what prostitutes do. You ask them for a cigarette. Okay? That chick was clearly a fucking prostitute. There was already 3 dudes talking to her about going to party. They all smoke fucking crack, alright? We have cigarettes, rolled, tobacco, and tubes. You wake up, I don't know if I probably was half asleep. You wake up, say you're going to use a toilet, and you stop and ask a fucking prostitute for a cigarette. Okay, so and I flipped out. I was apologizing to her because I knew what you were doing, and it's, like, fucking embarrassing, and clearly, I would wanna punch your fucking face in at that point, but I'm stuck with you alone in Orlando, and then ultimately, you ended up fucking ditching me, and then the guy that took your phone number tried to fucking rape me. You don't even care about that. You won't even talk about it. You keep saying that I threw your stuff away. When you attacked me at the Lynx bus station, the police were called and you took off with the suitcase my sister Candy gave me with all of my sleeping gear in it and just fucking left me in a city to be raped. So yeah, people finding out this shit were fucking mad. And then they can see, even after you dumped me again in November, all the insane shit you were doing out in the woods. You must have been high as a kite. You're beating up people. You're on benzos. You're hanging around with another fucking stupid whore and some old guy with drugs. Everybody told me what you were doing. So yeah, I'm sure when Jay saw that you was in a fucking shelter with me again, because he's probably thinks you have something at this point. Linda was telling me about it. That's why she's talking to you like that. I don't know why she doesn't straight out say what she's talking about. And Jay, just tell me what you're talking about. Okay. He's up in the woods smoking drugs and acting crazy. Is he fucking people? Is he shooting up? How else would he catch HIV, Linda? Male prostitution? Then just tell me that, like, that weird guy Heath told me that he saw Brian holding some man's hand. You need to tell people exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. I don't even believe he masturbated in a public bathroom to porn, but that completely ends your marriage at that point. There's he was given a hand job in a tent and then refused to do anything. That's the only contact we've had since then, when he was with the guy and probably prostituting himself. So some people would find when they find because no one would have actually known because then it went into being in Cambridge and getting hit in the head in 6 weeks at a campground. I don't think a lot of people realized that you were sticking your dick in some guy's mouth, getting anal sex from this guy, and he's probably has full blown AIDS. Okay, so right, you go, I don't know what you want me to tell you about delusional. I don't know how I'm other than why the fuck do I keep talking to you is maybe how I'm delusional. Okay, right, like that's people's reactions. Like Jay, like how the fuck are you still talking to this person? Because nobody has exactly told me exactly what he's doing, and he lies. That's why. So, yeah, that's why I like to have, voice messages like I did from Fawkner Hospital, and I put those online too. No one because he's allowed to block me on Facebook, and his fucked up friends don't tell me what he's doing in there. I saw some of the messages, he was just like, "Yeah," like any other fucking day. I found out way later that he told me his aunt saw me online and said, "Who is this person?" And they still didn't tell me the guy wasn't fucking dead. So, yeah, your family's fucking insane. They show up at a hospital. What's her phone number? Does she still have the same phone number? She doesn't have my number? She doesn't have this phone number? Who is I would think she changed her phone number by now. Let's see. Been a long time, so it's gonna be a while. I called her and left a message after he took off in November. Her name's not Denise Sawicki. She doesn't have my phone number. How am I texting her and calling her fucking phone then? She doesn't have a cell phone? Does she just have a house phone? I'm pretty sure I left my number on her voicemail when I called her in November. So that's a lie. The whole Mass General thing is a lie. And then he tried to go, I think she's losing it. Everything is a fucking excuse. These people are insane. I just don't know if Marie is insane and why do I fucking care if Marie's insane? Marie didn't have my phone number. She wasn't at my fucking wedding. None of these people were. That's why you go, really? Enough. Oh, yeah. I told Candy about it last night and she laughed when I said that I went. Can my sister Candy talk to these people that you're conflicted about and go take them to your fucking house? She's had to put up with 2 years in a row this fucking guy doing this to her sister right in front of her fucking face. So he's lying and fucking doing this shit to her too. And then you come to find out what the fuck is this? Oh yeah. That's why I'm glad I'm not down there right now. Last year I had to fucking put up with it because I saw it right in front of my fucking face. Someone lied that he was hanging out with another fucking female and some old guy moving drugs around and shit. You weren't having sex with that person? Why was she hanging around with you? Oh, yeah, just people are fucking just why are you hanging around with the married fucking man right in the library in the city where I am? Just it is. It's like, no. I know you just go, I wouldn't and then he's gotta go, if it wasn't for Scott making him lose his halfway house, he never would have saw me again. He has to continuously tell me he doesn't wanna be with me, but he won't leave me the fuck alone. For real. I get it. You don't wanna be with me, okay? Just that has it even been a week since he sent the photograph of himself wearing a fucking ring? He probably took it back off this hand and put it on the other one and took a fucking picture. He did not have his wedding ring on his ring finger when he was, hanging out with another fucking drug addict female. You weren't having sex with her? You didn't take her to the fucking stairwell? You weren't at the warming center? Where the fuck were you up in Weymouth with her? You people are just so fucking disgusting, man. Just I know. I do. I think that people should start taking pictures of these people and posting it all over the fucking internet. Oh yeah. Did he tell you he wasn't married? Oh my fucking god. Some chick posted on Facebook. I think that guy's name's Brian Buchanan too, or something Buchanan. That these people helped a guy hide, and he never paid his fucking child support or anything, and now he's finally fucking dead. And she's probably like, "Good riddance." The same thing. It's just wildly insane. But anyways, so I will listen to my live stream I just made where I was talking about the horrifying nature of Marie and Bill, and then being stuck married to a person like that and literally having children. So that's probably why she was even with him that amount of time, because she had two children with him, right? So you go 2.5 years is not whatever it was, 6 years until she finally went. And I wouldn't be surprised if he wasn't the one that reported it at DCF. Once she said, I'm not with you anymore, Bill. I'm not doing this again. And she was probably afraid of him if they were living together. They're married, they're living together, she has children. And it's really kind of disgusting that one of the children is still saying, and did they both do this to her? Then she probably has no contact with the other son either. That guy was a hero and still talking about him like anything positive. Yeah, just I'm glad I don't have that shit in my life. But and then clearly you got one of them that's married and stuff, and he's trying to live a regular life. And then you have this other one that just they do that. They'll marry someone because their brother did has a family, and then try to pretend that none of it is. You're your father, dude. You're your father. Like you're just basically a heartless maggot, crackhead. I don't know how the mother. I would think that she probably doesn't really have a lot of connection to that. It's not going to take long for a woman who hasn't been a person's mother since he was 6 to just go, I'm not doing this anymore. I want a regular life for myself. She already has a son that has a wife and children and housing and works. Yeah, I'll be there shortly. Click. I still think they showed up because they thought he might die. And the shit he's posting on Facebook that I can see now. He was probably in a medically induced coma because they had to wean him off fentanyl and give him methadone. And he's gonna pretend he doesn't like any of that. He doesn't like any of those drugs, but yet he's addicted to benzos too. I don't know if there's a drug that guy isn't addicted to, but so my family's saying this, and I'm conflicted. And then he's actually like accusing me of not answering his text. I didn't even do it purposely. All of a sudden, I go, "What the fuck is this?" He probably called the phone to see if I blocked him. I'm not blocking you. I am not a fucking nutter, okay? I'm not a pitiful fucking dysfunctional wacko. Yeah, I didn't block you. Why would I block you? You don't even talk. I would have no reason to block you. Yeah, I just it's fucking weird, isn't it? I'm blocking you now. I remember from like a year ago, and reblocked. That's what he would do to me. Unblock me, send all this fucked up shit, and then reblock me. I don't get it. I don't get it. That's why I said he clearly that's all he knows that you do in a relationship. You go, no, dude, love means never having to say you're sorry. Like, Jesus Christ, I my marriage was not like that. No. That's why I told Al, it's time to move out. Once you get to the point where you're actually beginning to fight, it's time to move out. We never fought. Nope. It was like having a roommate. I thought we were friends and, a circumstance where we got pregnant and then you do the facade like a traditional, dead sort of marriage, but you get along, you enjoy, you got a nice house, you got some money, you have children, you enjoy the holidays and you're friends. That's what I thought. And then all of a sudden when I wanted a divorce, and then when he got that girlfriend, he turned into another person. It was awful. It was awful. Can you wait to get the divorce? I mean, I gave up. I was like, I could have got a divorce at 33. I clearly would have met another person. He probably would have been 23. I know what I looked like at 33. Okay, so that's really unfair to do to a female. Now you have another dude doing it. They're fucked. And then they'll turn around and tell you you're fat and you're old. No one wants anything to do with men like that. And then you're actually helping them do it and you're trying to block me and stuff. You go, don't expect to ever get married. And if your wife is stuck with you, expect her not to spend a lot of time with you. It's like hard eyes kill her, but even worse. You just go, this is why didn't you arrest him for sexual assault in 2023? You clearly knew he wasn't dead. Okay. Is he not guilty of rape? Oh, yeah. Really? Anyone wants to date a man like that? Or even a female? Anyone wants to date a man like that? Where you go, wait a minute, wait a minute. He takes his hand and puts it on his naked penis. She doesn't even do anything. She told him that because of proper courting. He never intended to marry her. He never intended to be in a relationship with her. She doesn't know he's hanging out in a drug house, screwing other people and shit. She has no idea he's doing that until after she sees him again in 2024. She has no idea that he's doing that. You don't think he should be arrested for rape? Like, at that point, even the sexual assault, you really don't think that person should have been labeled as a sex offender? He's clearly a sex offender. Oh, yeah, he's clear that's a sex offender. You tell someone you pretend you're someone else and you're not. You don't tell her you're a druggie hanging out in some other female's house, okay? And then she tells you you're not doing anything, you're proper courting until you're married, and you put her hand you take her hand and put it on naked penis till you ejaculate, and then you don't do anything else? Because clearly you know she's not even trying to do anything else, okay? Like, it's just weird, right? You go, that's all he does for sex. That's all he does for sex. That's sex. You give him a hand job that you don't have to even have an erection. He's so told you that it's Spalding. That's all he thinks sex is. Or you're putting that in your mouth until the two of you finally give up. He thinks that's sex. Oh yeah. That's what he's doing with men for the most part, but I don't know if in April it went way further than he generally does. Yeah, because he was probably so high, he was with someone that was more aggressive. That's what it sounds like. He generally just lets them pull on his dick and he pulls on their dick, and there's gotta be some kissing involved, right? Okay, so I assume in April it went way farther than he generally allows, and that's why he's all flipped out and won't talk about it. I don't think he might have been watching porn on a phone so that he could get through what was going on. He must have allowed someone to give him head that's a man. He had to have in a public bathroom. That's what they do. They're fucking disgusting. I saw people with my own eyes doing it. It was probably something like that, right? So even if you're just watching porn playing with yourself in April, why even contact me again? And that's when I started talking about the POA, and he told me, "No, I'm not gonna sign anything, that's crazy." When I talked to my literal fucking therapist about it through email, and she said, "No, that's a good idea." Because how am I gonna have housing with a person like that? He spent, $200 and 300 SNAP, units in, like, 2 days. He can't have housing with anybody. Not Mary can't get housing. Anyway, I'm leaving Massachusetts when my Social Security is approved. I'm pretty confident it's gonna be approved. I just have to make sure that I'm on a phone that works. That's why I have a phone that's not even a government phone, and I'll have to make sure I have, like, 3 laptops available in March, okay? So, it makes sense that God would make sure that Brian completely fucked up and left before that. It really does make sense. As frustrating as it is to me, clearly, if my hearing was allowed to go through, I'd be collecting Social Security right now because it's been a month and I get a retro check of some kind and I pay my lawyer. Okay, so right after March, I expect to be approved. I'll get a small retro check because I have to pay off DTA and pay my lawyer, and I'll leave Massachusetts. So, right. Hopefully, fingers crossed, either my stint having to be in shelters and on the street like that is over. That would be fantastic. That would be fantastic. So because I can't see God really keeping it going, there's nothing for me to be doing except still advocate for people to get some kind of housing and then explain certain people that are just never going to be housed. That's why you have warming centers. I still don't believe in the shelters. Okay, I don't think those people need anything more than the warming centers and then the public places they're allowed to sit in all day, especially in the winter. And then in the summer, they're busy doing drugs and giving themselves STDs in these tents. Who cares, really? It speeds up their dying process. So that's why they won't shut the drugs off. So, right. I think for the most part, everybody that may have had a chance to get off of the drugs and go to Christianity, um, that work is done, from what I can tell. So I still believe they're going to cut off the getting housing through drug use. Yes, I don't think you're going to have CSS and TSS and halfway houses and sober houses anymore. Explained why. Okay, and then the people they'll be forced to sort of maybe they'll drink alcohol at that point and take prescription medication that they have to go to a provider for. And then there's some kind of keeping track of what they're doing. It would be nice if these people could enforce sex crimes again because they're clearly not. So that's a problem. Through embarrassment and social pressures, the cops will be forced to have to start arresting crimes that are reported right in their police station that are sex crimes and are clearly sex crimes. Right. So if you have to report one, make sure you get the police officer's first and last name, and then you go right to the internet if something isn't done about it. I don't know. I just know it was a dude. The Plymouth police did call me, but I don't know if that meant that they were actually going to pursue it. Okay, so I don't know what happened with Charmaine. She probably didn't report it, and that one's a little bit different because she uses. Okay, so I don't. Okay, I had 13 years sobriety in Plymouth. I relapsed briefly on booze and cigarettes after they told me he died. So good luck telling people we were using together and decided to start screwing. Good luck telling the police that or anybody around you. Like nothing. Like it's just that part of it I think is stunning. Stunning at that point. You clearly wanted nothing to do with me, but then you just didn't even go, "Oh yeah, I went in recovery, thank you." Sorry it didn't work out something. You just go, "What the fuck?" Like he didn't I was that insignificant. So you know that a person is completely psychopathic doing that shit. Right. You're talking about a person who met a family member, had me wearing a ring and told her we were getting married. Yeah, just now it's he literally married me. And within by September 1st, less than a month, He was trying to get himself kicked out of the shelter. I fully believe that now. Right. The guy that he got into it with the chair, the two of them were probably gonna take off and do drugs. Totally convinced of it now. And then, he wasn't expecting me to leave with him is what it is. He didn't think I would do that. And then he's screwed, and then he's vomiting all over the place like you would do if you smoked crack, so he probably had already smoked it. And then they concocted a thing about let's get suspended. What's she gonna do? Because he probably said, "What am I gonna do about her taking off?" And they probably said, because this is what they do. They're like retarded children. It's very sad. We'll make up a fight and get suspended. And that's what he did, 90 days. He didn't expect me to leave with him, right? So, anyways, one night vomiting all over the place, and then we went to Reedville. I knew this is God Almighty. This should tell you something too. I went right on the train out to Dedham. So whoever it was, he thought that whoever the person was that thought they were going to meet up with Ryan probably went, "Oh my fucking God. Wow, she is like not that dumb. She is not as dumb as this fucking dude thinks she is." No, I'm not. And God tells me things. But God will tell me to do things, and I don't know why, because it's Almighty. So he couldn't go partying with you. He was spent the night at Reedville train station, and we both freezed our asses off. And I remember he doesn't care about I'm cold, nothing. And then he doesn't care I have to go to the bathroom. He was probably pissed. He was probably coming off of whatever the fuck you gave him, vomiting and getting angry because your plot plan didn't work. And then he ended up stuck out here. And believe me, he was fucking cranky. And then he had to smoke. This might explain why he was smoking so much marijuana, because you were using something he didn't have access to. See how that makes sense? Okay. He's taking something in a shelter with you. You decide you're going to plot plan to get kicked out, like when he took off with that Sean guy from Foxborough. Okay. He doesn't show up, and then he's got to now be off of that shit and have no way to get it. So he's smoking pounds of fucking pot. That makes sense, and he was cranky as fuck. It's like when he got off the Adderall at the campground. He was definitely using something that's not his prescriptions that he couldn't get while he was here, and he was fucking miserable. Talk about a miserable fuck. Oh, yeah. And then the second he was told he might not get pot that night, he showed his true colors of what he actually is, and I'm sure that's what he was before I met him too, and he just got washed up from doing it. Just that remember like it was yesterday, sitting right in this chair. Like I told you, he went to the Facebook. He probably made plans with someone. Okay. That's what he did. He was already planning to fucking leave. It was all concocted, not I just threw him out. He opened up a Facebook, the one that I can see now, talking to druggies, plot planning just like he did at the fucking shelter, turns on wrestling and starts saying fucked up shit till I react to it. And then he literally flipped out on me. I didn't even say anything. I go, "Wow, their physiques and see how their physiques are not really that good, like, they're not like athletes, because athletes have actual good bodies." And he goes, "What the fuck? You're actually gonna say something about my wrestling?" Have you ever seen him talking like that? It was all made up, all of it. Oh, yeah, just what the fuck? I know. I've heard of, like, child abusers making up a fight with their spouse, so that there's an excuse why they're sleeping in the kid's bed or something, or they're sleeping on the couch, and then they sneak into the kid's bedroom. That was like bizarro. That's exactly what he did. He just made up a fucking fight. None of it was my fault. Nope, he completely made it up. Now, especially now that I know all this shit about his Facebook pages and what he's doing, and just how disgusting and a fucking liar he is, I know everything he was doing. That he is not like some pitiful fucking drug addict. No, he is. You see that picture from 2020? Yeah, no, he is like fucking brutally mean. Anyway, So the character got angry, and now the character is not going to probably talk to me again. Because the character is not interested in going to heaven. The character isn't interested in going to heaven or everlasting life in this bodily form or making up with Mary. He's not interested in that. Right. I don't know if someone was trying to see if he would defend me on Facebook. That could be what the person was doing. But usually that person's insulting to me to that particular Facebook page. It's probably a community member that thinks that they're gonna now cure Brian Buchanan. Good luck. Through all this whacked out shit where you now defend Mary or you defend your family. You're supposed to have a cause higher than self. That's not defending your family. Like you're making up whacked out fights and stuff. Yeah, so might be good Vince this time. Yeah, might be good Vince this time. I kind of a little time ago, obviously someone like that, once they get another dupe, they'll leave, right? That's probably what I don't even know if he was really that obsessed with Alicia, or that's a way to abuse me. Like Alicia's probably a way to abuse the mother and stuff too, right? So, um, I don't know if the father would tell him the mother's mad because he won't have sex with her. Is that possible? During the visits and the abuse, that he would say that she's upset because Bill won't have sex with her, right? But he'll have sex with his two sons. Right? That makes sense to me. Yeah, that makes sense to me. That's why, and she's a miserable and this and that because I don't love her like I love you and all this fucked up child abuser shit. Yeah. He had to have been doing that shit to that Alicia chick too. Because he already said it upset the foster care mama. That could be another motivation to continue on doing it, right? Because you don't bond to her, that hurts her. That's what's going on. It's all about her. The father probably filled his head with all this negative shit about the mother too. You always do that when you're abusing a child. You fill their head with negative shit. Because I've talked to a lot of people that have been abused. Duh. That's not. I didn't have that type of abuse. No. Um, usually, I told you about the thing where the kid just doesn't even think there's anything to report. And if you're being abused by a couple, what would you report? If you're in a household where you're being abused by the couple, who would you report it to? No one. Right. So some people are sadistic, okay, and then they instill fear. That's why you don't report it. And then some people, they have to make your other people in your life seem negative so that you won't report what's going on. And then you have a secret thing. And so they have to constantly explain to them bullshit. Constantly, constantly, constantly. She's mad all the time because I won't have sex with her because I just don't feel like that about her, but I feel like that about you and stuff. Or, oh, I'm sad because I don't have anybody to do this for me and stuff. Yeah, like some of them are like long extended conversations and grooming about, why you're sad and the person doesn't care about you and all of that stuff. It's different methods of abuse. Not everybody's abuse is the same. So, yeah, I don't have really that sadistic stuff. I had a person that used to beat me, but he wasn't sexually abusing me. There was a little bit of sexual abuse, but I think children don't always know what they're doing. And even that was sort of like sadistic. Like something was clearly going on with that person, that child, where his abuse was different, right? And then he was abusing me, but I wasn't subject to that abuse, if that makes sense. Okay. He was definitely being shown pornography, at least, if not then engaging in it. Okay. He was literally instructing another child to do sexual acts on me. All three of us were children. He was literally instructing another child to do sexual acts on me. Okay. But then he would also tell that child to hit me and stuff. He was sadistically insane. He would take me places and beat the fuck out of me. So none of it was like pedophile stuff with him. Okay, so whatever abuse he was doing, it may have been more pedophilia. So hopefully that makes sense because a child doesn't go, let's all do this. Okay, so his abuse was you hate females, okay, and but then there's also pornography being shown and stuff. Like, yeah, yeah, it doesn't mean he was in threesomes and stuff, but that he was clearly shown it in pornography. Okay, so I'm really familiar with sex abuse, and I don't have like on things in my head. Okay, so that's not what's going on. I know some people, it's called the disassociation. Just because people don't talk about their abuse all the time doesn't mean they don't know about it. Right? You just go, okay. So clearly, this guy, Brian Buchanan, uh, doesn't talk about his abuse. And I believe that he's also an abuser. I've gone over it several times because of what he did to me. That's a sex offender. Okay. So if your husband doesn't understand that, you might want to think about getting the fuck away from him because that's clearly a sex offender. Okay. You just go, okay, I'm just wondering though, this Brian Buchanan, Mary Buchanan thing. How are you figuring that he was a husband though? How are you figuring that he ever intended to be her husband? How are you getting that? Was he intending to be her husband, but it's the relationship's just too fucked up and she should leave it alone and stop calling him a rapist? Do you really think it's just he's a drug addict? Or he's a drug addict and a sex offender? And he gets violent, by the way. He doesn't seem like he wants to just keep hurting her. Like, you don't think something pissed him off after, maybe even after the sexual assault, because she was talking about it on the internet. He didn't purposely not tell her he was not dead to cause her suffering. Okay. And then why would he why would he just have sex with her on the honeymoon and then start telling her that like other guys are that he's hanging out with guys and keeps telling her guys are homosexual and stuff that he's choosing to hang out with instead of her when he's not homosexual? Why would he do that? Why would he take off less than a month from the wedding? He tried to take off from the shelter to use drugs. You really don't think that he's a rapist that just married someone who won't have sex out of wedlock and has all that celibacy just to rape her? Why did he tell Linda she wanted to get fucked, so I fucked her? That's not admitting you're a rapist. Yeah, I mean, even if legally they don't do anything, ladies and homosexual men, you might want to ask your person about it, what they think about that. It's nauseating and tiring to me that how sick men are, if you're calling that men. I'd say that's mostly males doing that, not females. I think most females want love, and they don't really think that men should be able to trick you into not resisting sex acts and then just go, she's a big girl, she's just bitter.